Place your bets, everybody! Who here believes that the champions of Aurelis can retain their title for the 7th match in a row? I can't really tell what the plains are in this picture. I mean, there are a lot of mountains, and you kinda zoomed, but you didn't zoom and enhance, so now it's all pixelated. Yeah, I'd imagine that flying dragons mounted by guys with axes and spears probably a bit terrifying, and fairly effective, even if you are on horses. You're just on lame old ground horses, where we have scaled flying horses, so really, we're the best. Well, things don't look too good for Nina, but looks like we're here just in time. So this is a bit of an interesting chapter. We're more or less going to be doing a pretty similar thing to what we did last chapter. We've got a wide open plain with a little more cover in it this time around, but nonetheless, it's still wide open and there are a lot of enemies that can sort of bypass us, so we kind of just have to put our fastest units forward and then have our stronger units back them up and then just come in and defeat these guys that are left. It's not too bad because there aren't too many enemies, but we do have to be careful. Meanwhile, over here, look who's back! You can call me just in time because I always arrive just in time for everything. I never really arrive before I'm needed, just exactly when I'm needed. Thankfully, though, I'm not fashionably late, because that would probably be pretty bad in this circumstance. First up, he's the leader of the bunch. You know him quite well. Hardin here is a very well-rounded cavalier who's kinda similar to Frey, except the thing is, Frey is actually a bit better than he is, so whether or not you use Hardin kinda depends on whether or not you sacrificed Frey at the start. If you did sacrifice him, Hardin isn't a half-bad unit to use. His strength and defense growths might not look to be the best, but I say he's pretty good overall. But if you kept Frey, then you might want to pass on Hardin. Next off we have Wolf. Now, Wolf might seem like he has good growth rates, and technically speaking he does, but keep in mind he's a horseman, therefore he's already a promoted unit, and he has some pretty terrible base stats. Like, those seem like a starting unit stats, and therefore he's not going to get nearly as much growth as other characters might get. Since he's very limited, he only has 17 levels until he reaches his max level. Still though, while he might not be as strong as other units in the long run, he's not bad. I mean, his HP and strength growths mean that he is guaranteed a point in each every time you level up, and heck, you might even get 2 HP. So, while he might not be the best, he's still going to be a pretty solid unit in the end. The same can be said for Sedgar, who has some pretty similar stats to Wolf overall. The only real differences here are his strength, which is a bit lower, and his skill and defense, which are a bit higher than Wolf's. And of course his base stats are different, and that doesn't matter too much because they're still pretty bad overall. Still though, like Wolf, he's a pretty good unit. Use him if you don't mind a little less strength but more skill and defense. And unfortunately next we have the other Cavaliers who aren't nearly as good. Violent's got some decent HP and speed, but other than that, his stats really aren't anything special, so it's better to use other Cavaliers. And the same can be said of Roshea, who, while he does have some excellent HP and skill, his speed, luck, and defense are way too low, and it's far too big a weakness for him really, so all in all, it's probably better to pass on Roshea. It's a bit of a shame that I'm not really going to be using anyone else but Hardin, but honestly, I'm not really a huge fan of his group overall. It's a pretty cool team, but Hardin is really the only useful one out of them. But as I said before, we gotta set up, get our best characters forward, draw those guys out, and just pick them off from there. Of course, the guy in the back is a recruitable unit, if you couldn't tell. I mean, he's a friendly-looking guy, even if he is an enemy, but beware, he might look friendly. Nonetheless, he will attack us if we get close, and he's a bit dangerous. I mean, he's a magic user, so that should be obvious. Magic users are generally pretty damn dangerous. He can also heal our opponents as well, so yeah, he's gonna be kind of annoying. So let's get him on our side as soon as we can, otherwise he's gonna be a pain. But as I said before, just lure these guys out, and they're really not too tough, even without too much cover for us. Of course, more of those guys are going a bit too far north. I was hoping fewer of them would have been drawn that way, but what are you gonna do? They're not too far away. Do want to be careful of that Pegasus Knight. She does have the best range out of all these guys, especially since she's not hampered by trees. In addition, I'd also like to mention, the recruitable unit here can either be recruited by Marth or Merrick, which is kind of why I have Merrick along. Normally I wouldn't really take him, but he's got a unique conversation, therefore I want him here. I mean, Marth can converse with him anyway afterwards, so why not, right? Get all the dialogue. Plus, we kinda have to send Marth up north anyway, because there is that village. It's not really a huge map, but still, sending Marth there, a little bit annoying. I would, however, suggest sending a unit up there just to inhabit the space where the village is, because the thieves can actually approach that village pretty quickly, so you want to block them off as soon as you can. Like, sooner than you actually finish these guys off. Might be a bit too late if you do that. Seda is pretty good for blocking that village, though. Just because she can fly and she's effective against the thieves since they have swords and all that sort of thing. On this end, you've got a pretty good choke point over here. The problem is, the units really aren't ideal. Like, they have mostly archers over here. Now, we do have 2 archers of our own, or horsemen to be more precise. But nonetheless, that doesn't mean that we're really in a good position, because, as you might have noticed, they don't exactly have the most health or durability. Hardin is probably one of the best units you can use over there. Thankfully though, since you do have 5 units, it's fairly easy to just say, okay, that guy's taken plenty of damage, I need him to back off. Which I'm probably going to need to do with Wolf, just because he's low on health. But I do want to attract these guys to at least one person, so I do want to replace them with Sedgar, because if I don't, then yeah, Hardin's a bit more of a target than I'd like him to be. Plus, then an archer would probably just go onto that forest tile, which would be annoying. And it fucking figures. I'm just one space off from actually getting to Wendell. Thankfully, though, there is a tree in front of him, meaning if I take out this archer, then I should be able to stand in front of him. I hope. I really don't want to take a hit that I don't need to, because Wendell's gonna hurt real bad. But I believe that danger should be over. There we go, see? We're good. Oh, Merrick, what a surprise! I was just about to kill you and all of your friends. So you snuck out alone, but then you joined the enemies? Great going there, Wendell. Good job. I'm going along with the pie metaphor. I rather liked it. I'm fond of pie. Oh, how I wish I could be eating pie instead. And we're not going to get to his stats just yet, because first I want him to talk to Marth. His name is Garnif. He was a shogun, I mean sorcerer. Alright, now let's get to his stats. So, Wendell here is a sage, which is actually a promoted mage, meaning we have yet another pre-promoted unit in this chapter. However, unlike Wolf and Sedgar, his growth rates aren't that good, so he can't even really play catch-up with other units. Therefore, in the long run, you're not really going to want to keep him. However, he can use both tomes and staves, so that ability does at least make him a good crutch for a while. If you want to keep him around for healing and attacking, he's not bad. I just wouldn't really keep him for all that long, especially if you promote one of your other mages. Right, so, not gonna be using him, but, he's decent enough anyway. Of course, that warning isn't too good. He did mention that Hardin's been taken over, which is kind of not really the kind of thing we want, like, at all. Because Hardin's a city of mages, which we don't want as our enemy, but unfortunately, until we do something about it, it's gonna be in its clutches. I'd also like to mention that there are no green units in this game, which is probably why Wendell was red for some dumb reason, even though he's supposed to be a friendly guy, but instead he just decided to try and murder us. But basically, in other Fire Emblem games, green units are sort of a neutral unit. They might attack your enemies, they might run away from enemies, they might just be completely helpless. It kinda just depends on whatever the situation is. Either way though, as neutral units, they usually wouldn't attack you, or never really. I can't think of an instance where they would, but yeah, here in Shadow Dragon and in Fire Emblem 12, yeah, there are no neutral units, only ally units and enemy units, which is probably why units that join usually join you at the start of the chapter and count as blue units before you even know that they're your allies. It is a bit annoying, at least in cases like this, where we have a guy that's clearly, he doesn't wish us any harm, but he tries to kill us anyway. It's kinda dumb. Actually, in the other file, I did unfortunately have to kill him. I wanted to leave him alone, but he was doing a lot of damage to me, so I had to end him. It really wasn't my fault, he kept attacking me. I swear, this isn't gonna be weighing in on my conscience. I won't hear his horrible, horrible death cry as I try to sleep at night, as I try to rest with the fact that I've killed an innocent man. But, since I didn't have time in the previous chapter, little thing about that silver sword. You might have noticed that Hardin doesn't actually have a very good rank in swords, though he is going to be my sword-wielding cavalier in this game. He's only got a D rank, though, while he does have a B rank in lances, not spears, lances. But that is actually a bit odd, because his rank is so low in swords that he can't actually use the silver sword that you were told to give to him. That wasn't really a problem in the originals, because while there were different weapons, there weren't different weapon ranks. You just had one weapon rank, so if you had a B in weapons, you could use any B-ranked weapons, both silver lances and silver swords. So it wasn't a problem then, but I don't get why he starts out with such a low sword rank, because it's pretty obvious he's supposed to be a sword user. I mean, in the BS chapter, we did see that he was wielding a silver sword there. It's kind of his weapon, more or less. Not quite his signature weapon, but pretty close. And yet, for some reason, they just decided to kind of screw him on that. I'm still going to give him the silver sword anyway. He can just hold on to it until he can use it, but it's going to be a little while until that happens, because that is a very low weapon rank. Seriously, you'd think it would at least be a C, come on. It's just weird. As per usual, there's only really one difficult section, and even then it's not too bad. It's pretty much just the choke point with Hardin and his group. There's no real problem on the right side, though. Marth and his group can take care of the Cavaliers up there, no problem. It's just using those new units effectively, not exactly the easiest thing. Of course, now I kind of have to get him out of the way because I don't need him. I might heal him for some extra experience, but oh, that's surprising. Didn't think that guy would walk towards me. And see, this time that thief, instead of attacking me, actually decided to run away. Sometimes the thief AI is a bit weird. He's actively trying to not attack me. I mean, he probably couldn't do any damage, so that does make sense, but earlier a thief was like, oh, I'm gonna attack you for sure. Ah, well, you never know. Naturally, Marth and Hardin actually have a conversation, so I definitely want that since, first off, I am going to be using Hardin permanently, and B, it's a pretty important conversation. Hardin is actually a fairly important character in the series, and, well, in general, he is pretty badass. He's actually one of my favorite characters in this game. He's a pretty cool dude. I should be able to get him over here, provided... Ooh. Surprise, surprise, that knight's got a lot of defense, and this isn't really going to work out too well. I kind of want to just defend for the time being. Yeah, this is actually a pretty bad position. Not the worst, I can definitely work my way out of it next turn, but... it can do quite a bit of damage. Also, I probably should have equipped the steel sword to Ogma just so we could do anything. Oh yeah, and Merrick exists. Sorry, I forgot you were over there. Whoops, my bad. Oh wait, I did equip the steel sword. Well, I'm dumb. Fortunately, he also did damage to me. So, these knights are definitely a bit problematic since they're more aggressive than I thought they'd be. The Pegasus Knight I saw coming, I knew they'd be aggressive, but really they're not a huge problem, just they're never really all that powerful. I mean, Seda herself is very effective against another Pegasus Knight, and she doesn't really have the best defense. She doesn't have the best strength either. I see you over there. Look, I pointlessly killed one cleric. I'll do it again. I don't want to, but I will. Alright, this is a pretty easy cleanup. Kill the bigger guy with a hammer or a rapier if you're using Marth, and the other guy can probably go down to a steel sword, right? Oh, I guess we have to level up first. Dorky. Dorkies aren't useful when you have a thief like Julian. Wow. Surprisingly enough, Castor can actually do something. His speed's not that pathetically... 85%. 85% Castor. And you still manage to miss. Castor, you're fired. Anyway, since he screwed it up, I guess Seda gets some extra experience. Today's your lucky day. You get to clean up the mess of another one of my units. I've killed a few gangs of pirates and thieves, and I think one actual section of... I don't know, Dollar? What country were those previous guys even from? Ah, well, whatever. If you're impressed, I will take that compliment. Gasp! Marth, and not the wise Hardin? Well, isn't that nice? Yep, those two get along pretty damn well. And Hardin just instantly recognizes the fact that Marth is, well, a pretty caring person. That development came out of nowhere, sure, but hey, Hardin sees it. Or maybe he read the script, or he's just familiar with the fact that Marth's the main character, and as such he should probably be the leader no matter what. I mean, generally, you kind of want to leave leadership to a main character, because if you don't, you're probably going to die, cough cough Suikoden. Well, those guys are done for, and the boss, well, he's not gonna be a challenge at all. He's gonna be quite the pushover. I mean, first things first, he doesn't even have a long-distance weapon, or range weapon, rather. God, I can't speak. But yeah. So, if you want to get a free hit or two, you can have a mage, or if they actually have enough strength, then an archer of some sort. Keep in mind, though, an archer probably won't have enough strength to actually do much damage, even with a steel weapon. Naturally, the best option, though, is pretty much just stick with a fighter with a hammer and Marth with his rapier, and you'll be doing tons of damage. He is difficult if you don't have any other units, but honestly, it really shouldn't be too tough. I'm pretty sure I can take him down easily. In fact, if anything, taking him down too easily is a bit of a problem just because Board will probably be getting a lot of experience just due to how many night bosses there are. And Caster hardly did a thing. See what I mean? Oh wow, even Wolf, the pre-promoted unit, can't do a thing against him. Even Sedgar, the other pre-promoted unit, can't do a thing. Yeah, they don't have very good base stats. See what I mean? It's a problem. These guys are hardly doing anything, and then Marth and Board will just come in and sweep the whole thing. Oh, jeez. And Dogma can't do a single thing. That's actually pretty troublesome. And Marth would clean this up, as would Board, I'd imagine, yep. But Board needs the experience. No, I'm pretty sure I won. I mean, there's guys in the castle, yeah, but I killed you, and that's a pretty good victory. We also get a Silver Lance, which Hardin can use. Oh well, whatever, I'm not gonna try to keep thinking about that weird logic. I'm pretty much just gonna give one more round so I can heal up and murder that poor innocent cleric, and then we're gonna be done. I should probably stop doing that. It's not worth nearly enough experience, and I just feel really bad for the poor... I'd assume they're girls, not dudes. Because generally... Yeah, generally it's the cleric class when it comes to enemies. Ah yes, my favorite character, Aurelis King. Do you have an actual name, or what? So were you just standing at the gate the whole time, and somehow you weren't stabbed, or what?